everyone, and welcome to the show. It is Local Chat, episode 217. I'm your host, William Yosefitz Crispers. Joining me this week is a man laughing at a joke he
Sorry,
made.
it's just I say William Yosefitz Crispers a lot, but that's the first time I've ever heard somebody else say it, and that just tickled me. That made me, you know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of Slurper Gurp. Remember when we came up with Slurper Gurp? We played it a couple times, and then one of our fans at the time said that it was spreading through their high school because they started playing it and people played it too. And I was like so proud of making Slurper Gurp the gossip of that week in some random high school. So thank you for saying William Yosefitz Crispers.
Yeah, get through it.
I'm so emotional.
It's so emotional.
So emotional.
You're welcome. You know, I've always wanted to say it, and now I've said it. I've said my piece, and now I can end it. Folks, speaking of ending it, we are beginning it. This is the beginning of the podcast, and there's an intro section. We don't have anything written down in it, but I wanted to bring up, you may notice over my right shoulder, or left shoulder, that I have Windows pipes playing. That's because there's a computer behind me that was previously my grandmother's, and I have taken it, and I took off the very little that was on it.
Sorry, slight coincidence. My father gave me two older computers this week, one of which was my grandfather's recent computer, because every couple of years he gets a new computer.
Oh, nice.
So I also have one of my grandparents' computers sitting in the house waiting for me to do something.
This had a burned DVD in the disc tray of a wedding, someone's wedding. I don't know. So I need to ask my mom who that was. I think it must be, she was from England, so it must have been a relative's wedding. And then they sent like,
was it your wedding?
No, it was not my wedding. She wasn't alive for my wedding.
Also, you probably would have recognized that.
Yeah, true. And then there was just like a bunch of photos of like my cousins and stuff, and baby photos where they popped up on my screen, and I went, "Oh, government, please don't scan these and think it's just some sort of it's just like tub time or whatever, and like someone took photos and like
tub time. Is that what you're calling it?
Yeah, we all have tub time growing up, right? Where
at least
everyone measures and
at least the Walmart photo center didn't call the cops on your grandma.
I know, thank God. No, it was Dropbox. So Dropbox, you're complicit in this, Your Honor. Sure. So I was trying today, if people tune into the Roadcraft stream, install Windows 98 on it, and I got that all installed, and I did a bunch of stuff on it, and then that computer is too new to run Windows 98 properly, so I installed Windows XP on it, and it's a lot better.
Gotcha.
It's funny too, because I grew up on Windows XP, so that's the one I'm comfortable with. Mm-hmm. It might be my favorite outside of 7. I still have a special
out of all of them.
Still have a special part of me that loves 7 so
much. That's such a good question. XP is very, very good. Yeah, 7's very good, but honestly, like 7 was a redemption arc after Vista, right?
Vista. That thing had Vista on it, and I wanted it off there as fast as humanly possible.
Yes. XP felt like the future, like 95, 98, and then XP felt like, this is the new Windows. But I think for me, honestly, it's not a matter of favorite. It's like, which one do I feel the best about? Because that's kind of what it is, right? It's all nostalgia based. But I think for me, it's 95, because I remember before Windows 95 came out, we had 3.1, and 3.1 you had to launch from the DOS prompt. So when I was a kid, like 4 or 5, I had to learn how to launch Windows 3.1 from DOS, because the PC would boot to DOS command line, and then you would launch Windows 3.1. And it also didn't have a start button. So when 95 came out, me and my dad got so excited for it, because it was like it boots directly into it and it has the start button. And this is very topical given the Switch 2 is coming out this week. I remember the launch day for Windows 95, because me and my dad, we lived in Okinawa at the time, and we went to you ever heard the phrase PX, post exchange?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, for those of you who don't know, it's basically like if you're living on a military base, that's their store, like their general goods store. And living in Okinawa, I mean, we could have gotten Windows 95 anywheres, but we were living on a base. It was easier just to go to the base PX, and they had an electronics department, which was really nice. And we went there the day Windows 95 came out, and they had pallets of Windows 95 like stacked on the pallets,
Hell
like
yeah.
4 or 5 feet tall. And my dad was like, heck yeah. And we were like, yes. And we got it. We took it home and installed it. So I think for me, yeah, it's Windows 95. I got to say that memory is just too good. You know?
When XP came out 2000.
Yeah, that sounds no, because ME was 2000.
So when did XP come out? Now I gotta Google it.
I want to say XP came out like 2002, 2003. Because
2001, August 24th, 2001.
Gotcha.
That makes sense. So I would have been like 6. I would have been 7 when Windows XP came out, and that was probably more when I was using the computer. So that's why. And I need to ask my parents, but I think I recognize 95 more than 98. So I think we must have had 95. No, we must have had 98 then XP. I don't think we would have had 95 then XP.
And you didn't go ME. ME was not a mandatory upgrade in a way.
Yeah, I don't remember.
You could have
ME
skipped
at all.
it. Yeah.
So yeah, I got XP on there, and now I'm just gonna install some games and see what runs on there. It's fun. It's just like there's no reason for me to be doing this, but I might as well.
What's the hardware? Just give me a quick rundown. What's on this PC?
I literally have no idea. I didn't look at anything. It had 3 gigs of RAM. I removed the 2 gigabyte stick because it wasn't. Windows 98 can't recognize over 1 gigabytes. So it's 2 sticks. One is 1 gig. The other is 2 gigs.
Oh Jesus! So
I have to put the 2 gig back
up.
in. I mean, but this is when did Vista come out? 2000.
Vista came out with Halo 2, right around the same time as Halo 2.
So this computer theoretically could have been from 2004. And 3 gigs of RAM's not that bad for back then.
No, it's just that it's 3. It's a 2 stick and a 1 stick.
I see. That's
where I'm like,
yeah. It was quite shocking. There. And then it has some proprietary it's HP, but there's like a little slot underneath where I guess you would slot in like an external hard drive because it has the like printer cable plug in the back of it. So I guess you would just like
or the serial.
No, the IDE, like the modern, more modern-ish printer cable plug, the like fat USB, whatever it is.
No, that's US. You talking about USB B?
Is it USB B?
Yeah, no, it's just the problem is we're talking about 40 years. So when you say printer cable,
that's true.
But then you said a hard drive, and I was like IDE or serial.
Yeah,
but you're talking about a little bit more modern, which is the fat USB. Like it's almost like a rectangle USB, like a different rectangle.
Yeah. Exactly. And it like has that for some sort of plugin. So there must have been some like thing they had that would go in there. But other than that, it just had like a 300 gigabyte hard drive and some other stuff. So
that's
it's just been
pretty big for then.
I know.
That's big.
So that's what's making me think maybe this came out at the tail end of Vista.
Yeah,
because otherwise, why? I mean,
for the memory, top tip. I've done this a couple times. Just look at whatever the stick is and check the motherboard as well. Like, let's say you look it up on the motherboards, like the most we can support is 8 gigs of RAM. Go to eBay. You can probably get 8 gigs of RAM for like $5. Like you will find. I've done that a couple times with these old PCs where it's got like 4 slots, 2 of them are used, and it's at 4 gigs. I like max out the memory with like $10 in eBay purchases, and that actually is very, very helpful.
Yeah, I want to look up what graphics card it would theoretically.
Oh shit! That's a good idea.
Try to get a top of the line one.
Probably like an ATI Radeon like 9800.
It would have been one of the ones that would still have like the dragon or the wizard on the cover.
Yes,
and it would have been really
bring
awesome.
That back. Fucking bring that back. like there are so many starving 3D artists because they all got laid off when they said you can't have tits on video cards anymore.
Yeah. Where'd all the tits go?
Where'd all the wizard tits go, man?
Yeah, I want wizard tits.
We're not allowed to be horny anymore.
Where? Anyways, that's my computer journey.
I don't know who this character is.
I burned a bunch of CDs for 98. Get out of here, sir. This is a podcast.
Sorry about that guy. He's like a conservative nerd.
Oh no, he's coming back. He's coming back.
He's coming back. He's coming back.
Oh no.
Coming back. I want my dragons with dicks back.
Oh my god, sir.
Get out of here.
Oh man, he's saying what we're all thinking though. It's crazy. Anyways, video games. Ian, do you like video games?
Yeah, sure, I guess.
Oh, fuck it. Okay, bye everyone. See you later. Tell me about the games you've been playing.
I have been playing a game called Roadcraft. Will, have you ever heard of Roadcraft?
Is it like Roadhead?
It's actually exactly the same. We're not gonna go to that channel. We're gonna pivot. Roadcraft. Okay, I was trying to think about this. So Roadcraft, it started with Spin Tires, which was an indie game that was kind of like a flavor of the month type of thing, and popped and was all about. And then that got turned into, I want to say like a single A or a double A release called Mud Runner, which I think was still the original indie dev and the developer. I'm not going to look this up because it would take too long to get the correct answer. And then I think that dev left. There was a little bit of a battle there. The original dev left to go do their own thing. Then they put out a new game called Snow Runner. Mm-hmm. And then they put out Expeditions, a Mud Runner game. Mm-hmm. And now we have Roadcraft. I think the easiest way to describe this is a driving simulation game, but instead of it being about racing your car, it's all about off-road, driving through mud, winching to things to get across difficult terrain, towing trucks, tractors, trailers, etc. And what Roadcraft is bringing to this is kind of an element of construction, because you're getting construction vehicles so that you can maneuver equipment with cranes, you can pave roads, you can create resources. They also have a little bit of an automation element where you're setting up routes for AI vehicles to run between points and generate resources for you. I don't want to say that's it, but do you feel like that's an adequate description of what Roadcraft is?
I think so. I was clicking through those games on the Wikipedia, as you were saying that.
Did I miss any?
No, just the one thing that dumbfounded me is that every game leads to the next game, but Expedition Mud Runner does not lead to Roadcraft.
What do you mean lead to?
Like at the end of every single one of the games, it would say the sequel to the next game in the Mud Runner series.
On Wikipedia.
On Wikipedia.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But Roadcraft didn't.
I think that's kind of an ontological debate that is not worth having, because that series has grown on each entry, but also branched away from the core of the series. True. To the extent where, like we talked about, a lot of people are complaining in Roadcraft because there's no damage to your vehicles. You can roll your vehicle and have to recover it, but you're not damaging tires, you're not damaging the engine, other than flooding it if you go too deep in water. There's true. No fuel consumption, etc. So I'm not saying this is the only series that does this, but I think this is a good example of a series that has evolved, but in a way that it is not afraid to prune its own branches. Like it's not the core game plus. By the time you get to something like Roadcraft, they have removed things that were in previous entries in the series while also changing the core element a good amount.
The final word here at the bottom of the Wikipedia is, it says Mud Runner series, then it says main games, Spin Tires, Mud Runner, Snow Runner, Expeditions, a Mud Runner game, related Roadcraft. So I think exactly in sort of that way where it's like, this isn't a continuous of Mud Runner, it's a start of a new sort of different type of game with everything they've learned from the Mud Runner series.
Yeah, I really hope that's true, where they are going to continue Roadcraft on its own branch in a Roadcraft perspective, instead of I don't think this is what's happening, but my fear is that they do Roadcraft and they say, hey, that did well, but that's the Roadcraft game, and now we're going to try something completely different with the new game. Roadcraft is one of these games that I have attached to the most. It came out last Tuesday, and I have, guess how many hours I have in this game, Will?
Last Tuesday, at least 700.
Yeah, it's close. 32.7 hours in this game.
Wow.
And I'm maybe halfway through. There's 9 map scenarios total, and we're almost done with the 5th one. So I'm really enjoying it. I think what this is doing differently and working really well for me is that, I mean, first of all, this is kind of typical for the series, but it feels like they've really honed this. Is that this is part of me is like, hey, please give me your honest, visceral reaction here. I think this is a puzzle game.
I hate you. I hate you. I hate you.
Because you can kind of see, see where I'm coming from.
I've
right?
said this before, and you made fun of me and yelled at me for calling something a puzzle game, and I can't remember what it is.
I'm not going to say I didn't do that. It's just I have a pretty good memory of all. I remember all your flaws, and I don't think one of them was calling something a puzzle game at some point. But okay, let me explain for the listener what I mean here. Is that basically the idea is that you load into this map, and you have to discover the map, and you're given certain objectives like reach this location. Okay, you reach that location. Oh, it's a concrete plant. It's not working. You need to go, grab this generator from a different part of the map and haul it over to the concrete plant. Okay, now you need to replace this pipe. Now you need to generate a route from the concrete plant back to your starting base. It's giving you a series of objectives like that. But the map is very finely handcrafted, right? It's not procedurally generated, but it's also not just, an open world. Like, there are very clearly defined paths, and even the paths that aren't clearly defined, like I'm sure you've noticed, there's times you have to run electricity and you don't necessarily want to bury the cable along the road because it causes like a rut and causes problems. But if you look at the map and study it, you can see, oh, there's a forest between these two spots I need to connect with electricity, but there's this one path that has just slightly less trees and a gradual incline, and you can see the artist brush there. You can see where the level designers said, here's your intended path. It's still going to have some challenge to it, but it's possible, right? And that's what I kind of mean by there's a puzzle game here, is that there are clearly preferred and secondary solutions that are visible in the map. And so part of the challenge is maneuvering these vehicles to figure out, okay, how am I going to winch this thing and get it up, and how am I going to drive across this dirt path without getting stuck? But it's also looking at the map and figuring out, okay, I know it's possible for me to get from here to there. What's the route that has the less risk, that is easy to get through, but also not too long, and you can see how there are preferred paths there. So it does feel like a puzzle game where you're having to kind of tease out the solution to all these different challenges you have. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes. I think when you strip everything from it, it makes sense that it's a puzzle game.
Yeah. I mean, again, I don't want to go down this branch, but it's almost like you could say like a platformer is a type of puzzle game. It's the same feeling of there is a core mechanic to this game, which is driving, and in a platformer, it's jumping, etc. But there is also a preferred line, and the challenge is, I don't want to say clearly laid in front of you, but part of the challenge is not just making the challenge, it's also discovering the way in which you are supposed to complete that challenge. And that's what's really cool about Roadcraft. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Now, Will, I know your feelings are complicated because you're a piece of shit. Should I dress you down about the single player multiplayer comment you made now or later?
Well, first of all, I've already rescinded that comment live on stream.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Okay.
But just to go about this, you made me realize also when you start those new missions, you're sort of back to zero with all the equipment you have. So it's very almost like a roguelike.
New like maps.
When you do a new maps, this game's this game, if I were to describe it, is a puzzle roguelite for anyone who wants to get into it.
No, see, I can't go that far because there's not runs.
I know. Just
Sorry. Although apparently there is a way when you finish a map to reset the map and do the map over again and like regain all the XP and everything. So there are there's people on Reddit who are like, I don't want to go on to the next map yet. I'm going to redo that entire map, double all my XP and everything to get better vehicles before I go on to the next map. But the pacing in this game is actually really good. So it's not like they're like forcing themselves to grind even though you don't need to, and it's weird.
Like power leveling in an RPG and then like bulldozing the end of the game, and you're like, that game wasn't very good. Yeah. And it's like, well,
it's and it's not the fault of the game. Like, I actually like that they have that in there, because for those sickos that want to play this game for 700 hours, there's an easy way for them to reset the map without having to reset their save. But people acting like they need to do that during their first playthrough is like, okay, sickos. Anyways, I didn't mean to shit on Reddit people. Sorry. It's too easy.
Multiplayer, single player.
Tell me, okay, real quick. The reason why I was initially upset with you, and where I don't know where you stand on Roadcraft, because you didn't initially like it. Is that correct?
I didn't initially like it. It just felt like sort of when I booted up Expeditions Mudrunner, and it was just like, it's not enough new here for me to like be that wild about it or anything. And I was getting pretty stressed out with the maintenance stuff on that second map. It was just, it felt like an impossible task.
So just to call it out real quick, because I do want to give the devs kudos for making efforts towards fixing this. Part of this game is introduced, which is routes. So the idea is you have 2 points on the map that you need to connect with a route that you draw along the roads and paths, and then AI vehicles will drive that route for you to complete certain objectives. Problem is, those AI vehicles typically don't have good traction. They're dumb as shit. And so they will, there will be little difficult areas or mud paths that you, when you're driving, can get through, because you can kind of, tiptoe through it or hit the right angle, and you can try and draw the route to do that right angle. But before the recent patch, those AI vehicles were pretty dumb, and you could have vehicles running the same route back to back, and some of them failing and some of them not. So they've been working on it. They put out a patch that's made it better. There's still some issues with it, and to your point, that's probably my core frustration with the game, is that it does have a lot of objectives relying on AI pathing and routing of pre-planned routes that you're putting down, and it's not good. It's not good. It's better. It's doable. It's less frustrating, but it's still a problem, and that's probably the biggest frustration with the game right now.
And I originally was saying I enjoyed multiplayer more because it felt like you could handle tasks better, where it was like, oh, Ian's in the crane truck, he's lifting the cargo into my cargo truck. But once you told me about, like, there's the cargo crane truck, that solves a lot of those issues. At the end of the day, I think this game is better multiplayer. Like, it's a more fun gaming experience hanging out with someone and playing the game than it is playing by yourself. But the thing that made me realize it's a good single player game is Ian and I played 3 hours the other day, and I think we helped each other once in that entire session, versus when we played today, we helped each other a lot more. But that's just because we wanted to get stuff done faster. So it is a very viable single player game. I think it's more enjoyable multiplayer. But I rescind the original comments, because again, I hadn't gotten to the point where I had a thing that felt easy to do. Like, the one thing that really frustrated me is you couldn't lift an object over something and then switch vehicles. It would let go of the object. So it was like,
you couldn't keep it
felt
up.
Like the game was like, well, why don't you have a friend playing with you? And like, that was annoying. But again, I think it's totally viable single player.
And now that you mention it, I do think there's some kudos for this game, and this isn't something necessarily for Roadcraft, it's for the entire series, which is, it's very difficult for a game to be great playing by yourself or with other people and within the same mode. So it's not like you're going from multiplayer deathmatch to single player campaign. Like, this game is great by yourself, and it's great with friends, and it's not like one is necessarily better than the other. Because to your point, going through these objectives that we've been going through, sometimes it's an objective like deliver this vehicle, and it's like, okay, I'm looking at the map, it's not too challenging, I'll do this, you go do something else. Versus like, when we hopped on today, we had 9 pieces of concrete that needed to be delivered, and it's like, okay, we can either both do it at the same time in each in our own truck and get it done side by side, or you can drive a big truck and I'll use a big crane to load you up once, and then you run it and I push you along the way. Like it, you could have just done it by yourself, but multiplayer, like you said, made it go a little bit faster, and some of the objectives are a little bit better in multiplayer versus single player and vice versa. And it just, I was not expecting to love the game this much. It was really just going to be a time waster for me. But I am just astounded at how much they continue to expand and improve upon this series. Like, what did we just say? I'm gonna ignore Spin Tires, because I feel like Spin Tires was kind of like a tech demo-y type thing, and it's really Mud Runner. So Mud Runner, Snow Runner, Expeditions, Roadcraft. I'm trying to think of other series where they have just constantly improved and branched and delivered 4 games in a row. Like there's always a series where it's like Assassin's Creed 3. Ooh, they dropped it. Things like that. But Mass Effect Andromeda, the 4th one. Ooh, they really dropped it. Like the more I play of this, the more I'm just astounded that they have something great here, and they're doing a fantastic. And the other thing, we keep talking about this. Last thing, I know I brought this up before on stream, but this is a different stream.
Tis.
We keep talking about how in other the core of this game is pretty much the same game to game, but they keep adding new mechanics or new twists on it. And in a lot of games, these would be DLCs, right? They would say, hey, you can make roads now. It's a $15 or $20 DLC for Expeditions. And it'd be like, cool, but this studio instead said, you know what? We have a cool idea. We don't want to shoehorn it into DLC on the existing game. We want to make a whole new game for it and craft the game around this cool new mechanic of building roads. And it's going to be okay that it's mostly the same as the old game, but with this new mechanic on it, because it's going to be all these like 7 or 9, I think it's 9 or 10 map scenarios built around this new mechanic. And it's only $40. This studio is killing that model, where it's like we could have done a 50% of the way DLC, but fuck it, let's just go all the way new game based around this cool new mechanic we want to implement. They did it with Snow Runner by adding snow. They did it with Expeditions by leaning into like the rock climbing aspect, which wasn't really there in the previous games, and they're doing it with Roadcraft with roads. The more we talk about this, the more I am impressed by how well this series is going.
Yeah,
it's rare.
I as much as I like everything separated a bit, I do look forward to some sort of cohesive, like, open world, not open world, but like, almost open world, where it's like, hey, here's the map that you're on. This is like, you can decide whatever you want to do with it. Like, fix this road, put a bridge there, put that there. There's wrecks that you can go haul out and unlock. There's a snowy section of the map. There's the desert section. And then that's the game that we were talking about this in one of the streams. That's the game where it's like, hey, if you want to play it on like the Fallout survival version, we turned on gasoline, we turned on repairing your vehicles and stuff like that. And if you don't want to deal with that, here's the arcadey side of that. So I'm hoping that's what they're working towards. If they're not working towards that, that's fine with me. But that's like my secret wish for them to make.
I think that's it. Is that like you said, they've done a great job iterating and focusing on new mechanics and new areas for each game. But it would be great to see them. I literally just said it's great these games are $40, but make it. It's the new price point. Make it a full-blown $80 game. It brings back all this stuff together. You have a giant map with these different areas, and expand upon the stuff we currently have. Like for example, in Roadcraft, you can build roads yourself. It kind of sucks. Or you can have as an objective, you can have the AI build roads. Like, you bring the supplies to them and they will lay it for you. I want to see that manually. I want to be able to, on a map, draw a road and say, I will bring the supplies, but you lay the asphalt for me, because it's kind of touchy laying the asphalt in the sand. So like improve upon every single mechanic they've introduced in all the previous games, then pull it all together and have a giant map. I think you're right. That would be really cool. And then seasons. So it's one giant map.
Seasons change everything.
But there's 4. Yeah, the seasons change, and it messes stuff up. You got the rainy season, you got the snowy season. Yeah. Yeah, that could be cool.
What? Name one other season.
The dry season.
Damn it!
And
You got me, folks.
the season finale.
The season of love.
Yeah. It's just so good. I didn't think it would, but the more I play, the more I know this has to go on the Game of the Year nomination list. It has to. This is the return of the king. This deserves accolades not just for this game, but for what they've been able to do with this series so far and continue to deliver on.
Okay. I forgot about the Game of the Year list. It's too early in the year. Shut the fuck up.
I know. Next month we'll talk about it. We'll check it out and see how it's going.
Speaking of next month, when my monthly time comes, I love things that are disposable, don't you?
Yes, I do. Well, I've been playing. Okay, so in between the 32.7 hours of Roadcraft, I've also been playing this little Steam demo for a game called Disposable Core, which I have 3 hours in over the last week. Have you heard of this game or seen anything of this game?
No, I'm looking at it right now. It's pretty wild.
So I know your preferred platform is Instagram Reels. Is that correct?
Yes. Well,
okay.
It's not my preferred platform. It's the only platform I've used.
That's fair. Okay. So I saw this on TikTok, but it may be on Reels as well. But anyways, I saw a short of one of the things I really love and that I love that the algorithm serves me on TikTok is indie developers who know that the best way to market their game is to basically say, hey, here's what's unique about my game. Just right off the bat, I'm doing something weird. Here's what it is, just to get people interested in it. And so I got served a TikTok of this for Disposable Core, which it's like a low poly World War One era / style 5 versus 5 first person shooter, third person shooter. But what makes it really unique is that it's like Source Fort, which we've talked about before, which is basically it was a Half-Life 2 multiplayer mod, but the whole premise is that you have a series of flags. So let's say there's 5 flags across the map, and some of the flags are owned by your team, some of the flags are owned by the enemy team. So let's say, you got 2 flags facing each other in the chain of 5 flags. So I'm on the second flag, you're on the third flag, and we're facing each other. And the way the match progresses is that there's a cycle of rounds. So in one round, I am attacking, right? So my team has 3 minutes to attack and capture your flag. And then there's like a cool off period of like a minute. And then there's like a 3-minute period where you're attacking and I'm defending my flag. And then there's like a cool off period of a minute. And then it goes back to me attacking, right? And it goes around that. But there's a couple interesting things. Number one is that there's AI in this game. So it's not quite clear. Like this demo's kind of in a rough state, but
good AI.
So it's hard to understand how things are working.
I mean,
I fucking hate.
I know.
Do we have to come up with new? As a side, you're right though.
I'm just clarifying.
NPCs.
NPCs.
There are. I guess we have to say NPCs. There are NPCs that you can spawn for your team, so that even though the game is 5v5, there's probably about 30 people per side at a time.
Like Battlefront, Titanfall, like the grunts and the.
Yes, there are grunts. Yes.
Players.
It's not clear to me. Like there's a spawn AI button, but it's not clear to me how I make them under me or how many I'm commanding, etc. So it's not clear where it's like every person gets 10 people or whatever. That's just not clear to me. But the map it's typically about 30 versus 30. And if it's a full server, only 5 of those 30 are real players. The other 25 are NPCs. Gotcha. But they're NPC soldiers and they will defend your area. You can give them rudimentary commands, which again aren't working well right now, but they'll defend your flag, and during the attack phase, they'll try and attack the enemy flag. Here's where things get very good. Looping back around to why this TikTok grabbed my attention. The dev in this TikTok pretty quickly explained something that is unique and very cool, which is that the game is all about the economy. So you have a certain amount of money, and with that money in your pocket, you can buy weapons. So you can buy like a sniper rifle, a submachine gun. You can also buy emplacements like a Vickers machine gun or a sandbag or like an extra spawn point or even like a cannon, like an artillery cannon. or like barbed wire and stuff, and you can place those down to defend. And here's the crazy part. To me, this is the part that's crazy. I don't know if it's gonna be crazy to you. The way that you get money is by killing enemies, right?
Right.
But you also lose money if you die in certain situations. So, for example, if it is your team's defense phase, there's a big white circle around the flag. It's probably like 200 meters in diameter, this big white circle around your flag. If you're defending and you die inside that flag radius of your flag, you don't lose any money.
Oh.
But if it's a defense phase and you're outside that white circle and you die, you lose like $500. Like, you lose a lot of money.
Oh.
So the idea is like the game through that system is encouraging you to like, hey, defense means defense. Like, stay in your circle. You can leave the circle. We're not going to kill you. But if you die out there, you know, it's a risk. Like there are times where I will go out during a defense phase to hit the enemy from the side, or to like, I'm really working on this sandbag bunker outside the circle and I don't want to wait until the attack phase. So I'll go work on it. But when I die, I lose a lot of money there. You know, like killing an enemy gets you like 500. I think if you die outside your defense circle, you lose 2,500. So basically you lose 5 kills worth of money by dying in a place you're not supposed to be at the wrong time, which is awesome. And then it's vice versa as well. So during the quote unquote prepare phases, there's also the death penalty outside your circle because the game's like encouraging you to spend that time building up your defenses. And then during the attack phase, you don't lose money for dying. I think you actually get money for dying during the attack phase, depending on how close you are to the enemy flag. So even if you don't capture them, if you get close to the enemy flag and then die, you get money. So it has this economy system, which is encouraging people to actually play the objectives properly and be defensive when they should be defensive and offensive when they should be offensive. Did I explain that properly? Does that kind of make sense to you?
Yeah, that makes sense. It sounds really fun, actually.
Yeah, that's why I've played this like janky, barely working demo for 3 hours, and it's multiplayer only. So there are times where I've hopped on and there's nobody else on, so I just have to leave and hop on. There's sometimes between 4 to 10 people online in this game. Maybe we should do a stream of it because it's a lot of fun. The shooting's kind of cool. The other thing they do is the machine guns and the artillery feel really good. Like one of my favorite, the cool thing is like if you put down a machine gun, you can hop on it and you can shoot people, and it's pretty accurate for like several hundred yards. So if you get the right position, you can put it on there and just spray the enemy flag from your flag, and just like, you're not really mowing them down, but if anybody's out of the open and you do like a 5-second burst at them, they'll die. So you can, there are people who like set up flanking positions to like cover the flag, the enemy flag. There's also artillery, which again is kind of broken, but it costs a lot of money. You spawn it in, it has a certain amount of ammo. But there was a really good match I had where I hopped on, and there's the two flags. The flags are probably like 500-600 yards apart from each other. So it's a good distance between them. And I could see there was an enemy player who, over the course of like 3 minutes, ran to the valley between the two flags and just built a giant sandbag bunker, you know, like a 15 by 15 foot bunker, and then like flanking things. And he kept putting machine guns down on it. And the thing is, you could put a machine gun down and walk away from it, and any AI nearby will hop on the gun. So if you put down 3 machine guns, all of a sudden you're going to have 3 AI manning machine guns and covering that sector for you. And they actually work pretty well at that. So he basically built this giant bunker in like 3 minutes in the middle between the two flags. And I was like, this is going to hurt, right? Like, that's helping his team so much. And thankfully I had just enough money to spawn an artillery, get on it, and I killed like 40 people because I timed it just as their AI came in, and within like 60 seconds, I only had like 8 rounds for the artillery, but I just took out the entire bunker complex because that was the only way to destroy the sandbags, was just direct hits. And every time I hit it, it would kill like 4 or 5 AI that were right near it, like spawning or trying to move through it. And it felt so good to just take that. Man had spent so much time building it right in the middle, and he felt so good. And I was like, I'm sorry, buddy, but fuck your bunkers. And it felt so good. And then the other day I saw somebody online. I don't know how this works because I saw the commands for it, but he had somehow purchased like 5 or 6 artillery and put them all the way at the back edge of the map. And then he had set them up to fire so he could press a single button and all of them would fire at the same time. And it was just like every 30 seconds you would just hear boom, 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 and you would look and there would be artillery shells arcing over the entire map and then just landing all on the enemy flag and just like deforming the terrain and destroying sandbags. It's a really cool game. It's called Disposable Core. It's my number one fear and frustration with this game is it has a demo out right now. There's not a lot of people playing it. I'm very, very worried that they're going to give up working on it when they shouldn't. They have something incredible here. It still needs a lot of work. It feels like an alpha, like a true alpha, but holy shit, I've played 3 hours of it and I want to keep playing it. We should definitely check this out because there's enough of us to start a server, to start a game, basically. Because like I said, sometimes you get on and there's nobody online. It's really, really cool. So seriously, everybody out there, go check out this game on Steam, wishlist it, download the demo because they desperately need our help. We need to show them that they're onto something very good here. And it's really, really cool. I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Agreed. That's awesome. I'm gonna download this right after stream and maybe play it. Should be fun.
Hell yeah.
Video games. I've been playing video games. I have completed Doom: The Dark Ages. It is over. It is done. 100%. I 100%ed it. I would have 1,000 gamer scored it if there wasn't a bug for one of the achievements that they haven't patched yet.
Sure.
The only stuff in the only stuff in the progress, like in-game progress achievements that I haven't done is the 2 more higher difficulty games, and I'm just gonna save those for whenever I want to play through it again, because I played on the like medium difficulty and it was pretty easy the whole way through. It's a fun game. I think it's I didn't like Doom Eternal. I dropped it twice. And I like the 2016 Doom, and this game's just really fun. It's got a great combination with the parrying with your shield, shooting guys, hitting you with hitting your melee weapon that recharges by hitting people and killing people, and all the guns are fairly... The guns aren't the strongest part. That's the biggest complaints I've always seen people talking about, is the guns. They're not that wildly different. They're not that crazy cool. Each gun has has 2 versions of it that you'll unlock. So you'll use like the weapon wheel to select the gun, and then you can hit X to switch between the 2 versions of it. There's sort of, what are they called? Checklist things to do on every level. Like collectibles, stuff like that. And then gosh, I can't think of what they're called. Like tasks to complete, like extra tasks to complete.
Side quests. And then there's one of those for each weapon as well once you unlock the full weapon tree for that weapon. So it works out pretty well. Overall, I have no idea what was happening in the story. Things were just happening, and I was like, okay, that's cool. There's a couple Pacific Rim levels where you're just in a Jaeger, which is fun, and crushing everything. There's a couple levels where you're flying a dragon around. I turned on auto sprint because it felt too slow without it, which led to a lot of hilarious walking off the edges because I didn't stop fast enough. But the game is very forgiving with that stuff. You fall off the edge, you just spawn like right back up, which is nice. It doesn't count as a death. There's life sigils throughout the map. There's like 3 on every level. And when you die, it's just like, do you want to use a life sigil just to live again? And I had 3 the entire game. I think I died 2 or 3 times, mostly because I just wasn't paying attention. Mostly actually because there's a cannibalism on the rocket launcher that if you parry one of the moves and then shoot things with your rocket launcher, the splash damage heals you instead of kills you. Oh.
And I think that killed me the most out of anything because I wouldn't have parried properly. And then the mastery for the rocket launcher is to get the most of those, or a bunch of those. So I think that's probably what killed me the most. Level design, really fun, unique level design, cool. I don't know anything about the Greater Doom mythos, so I don't know if any of this was new, but they really delve into some like Cthulhu-esque stuff, going back to hell, going to these weird planets, and there's a king and all this weird shit that's going on. I highly recommend it. I had a blast with it. It's made me want to play more boomer shooters. I think I might try to finish up Dusk finally, which has been a while. I loaded up Quake and Quake 2, and then there was one other game someone kept recommending for as like modern good boomer shooter, and I can't remember what it is. But I'll
Bolt Gun.
Bolt Gun's good. Yeah, I guess Bolt Gun is a boomer shooter. I didn't finish Bolt Gun. It didn't have quite the.
Same.
It was a little too tough. It was a little not tough,
Did you see they released a typing of the dead version of Bolt Gun?
I heard that on the Nextlander podcast.
Kinda.
And it's all like
I kind of want to try it.
It's all like thin your paints, Mechanicus. It's like all weird words and stuff.
God, I just came up with a terrible Extra Life idea, which is that we bring out my IBM Model M loud as fuck keyboard and we do a typing game with that, and everybody's just suffering.
We do a typing game with that, but we go to that world's loudest room that reverberates so much.
Yes.
And we have to do it there.
Yeah. Either that or you just buy like a really terrible keyboard, like a roll up gel keyboard, you know.
Oh, and it puts the maple syrup all over it.
Yes. A terrible segment.
The other game I've been playing. Sorry.
Sorry. Little boy. How long did it take you to beat Doom?
18 hours.
Wow. How much of that, if you hadn't cared about 100%ing?
Probably like 14, maybe. I went back into a couple levels.
Yeah. I've been thinking about playing this, but I feel like I would probably only get about an hour and a half of enjoyment out of it. And so I'm like, but I could do a lot in an hour and a half in Roadcraft. So I'm like, I have it installed, but I just can't bring myself to actually play it. Nothing against the game. That's just where I'm at right now.
Yeah, it's good. I enjoyed my 18 hours with it. It was very easy to listen to podcasts and play it, actually.
Oh, that's good.
The music wasn't that great. I know there's that whole Mick Gordon deal and stuff, and he wasn't in part of this game or anything like that. It's okay. Like, I'm not into that type of music, but it works in Doom, and it didn't feel like a part of this game as much as everything else did.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was good. I'd recommend it, especially it's on Game Pass.
Awesome.
Pick it up. The other game I've been playing, and I won't talk about this too much, but To a T, which is the new
Katamari
Damacy guy and Watum, Keita Takahashi.
I don't know that name.
Is that his name? I think so. Anyway, so fact check me on that. You are a boy or a teen, a 13-year-old, watch it, who his arms are stuck in a T-pose, and you have to experience his life. There's a great song and dance. This game is separated into episodes. It feels like a anime or children's TV show where they play before every episode they play the intro song, which shows you all the characters and stuff.
Okay.
And then you get into the episode, and the episodes start around like sort of the open world area, so you can do all the like exploring the open world area and then walk over to the episode and activate it. You are a teen named Teen. I named my teen Bean, and you have a dog that is named teen. Dog, but I named my dog Keyboard. And Keyboard and Bean walk around and do shit. And he can't move his arms very much, so you use the stick to move his arms and reach down and wash your face and brush your teeth and eat cereal and other such things that would be hard to do as a T-posed boy.
So this is like mini games, right? It's like narrative with mini games in a way.
Yeah, they're on the second day, your mom tells you how you don't need to eat breakfast, brush your teeth, or wash your face every day, which I think is them telling you you don't need to do these things every time you wake up in the morning. But yeah, they're mini games. The first or the second episode, I guess, at school, there was like a rhythm dance game of like stretching in the schoolyard. So yeah, and you pick up your sandwich every day from the long neck giraffe lady who has a song about getting up at 3 a.m. to make the bread every day. So structurally, this game it is oozing with the Katamari Damacy Wadam style of Keita Takahashi. I'm rolling with it, but it feels like and I'm stealing this a bit from the Next Lander podcast, but it feels like a game for babies. It is a game for young children. It is.
That's why you're playing it.
That's why I'm playing it. But it's very simple controls to like go and pick stuff up. I was thinking this would be sort of maybe like a Quap or a Octodad on the easier side of that, and this is very much easy controls. Fun little cute storytelling. It reminds me of a kid's show.
Is that detrimental? It sounds like you're saying this in a detrimental fashion.
I don't think they were kind of saying it in a detrimental fashion. I don't think it's in a detrimental fashion, but there's not a lot of game there to make me be like, oh, to a T, like bam, like wow.
Gotcha.
It's just like
it's a Donut County in a way where it's way more style than mechanics.
Yeah, so far, and I'm afraid it's going to stay that way.
Gotcha.
It sort of feels like Katamari, but you aren't collecting things and you're just rolling around. Like there's this cool world to explore, and there's all these people, and the storytelling's neat because like you have a choir, or not a choir, a chorus, like a Greek chorus. It's like these three girls who like talk to the camera and stuff, and you like learn about things that way, but it still feels so rudimentary and basic, and I keep expecting more. Yeah, but it's not there.
I get what you're saying. Because it's not even, it's to your point, it's not even necessarily about difficulty. It's just very simple mechanics as well, and that's I could see that. Yeah, that's sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's okay. I'll probably play it a little bit more, but I don't see myself finishing it in any stretch of the word finish.
Yeah, there's a lot of good games. Plus, I mean, we're only halfway through Roadcraft, so we still got a lot more to do.
Exactly. I haven't really been playing anything else. There's stuff on the horizon. There's a lot of games that I've been meaning to start that I just haven't. I have my Notion document, there's probably about 30 games that I've started that I have not finished. Same with books.
Does that count as, this is kind of related to the book argument, but separate from it. Are you actually planning on going back to those games, or why can't you just say, I played that for 2 hours and I'm done?
Well, it's more of, if I ever go back to it, I'd like to know like where I was or if I had started it and stuff like that, rather than.
Oh, okay.
So I just leave it in the like
to go back to it.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
And most games, if I'm gonna play a game casually like Roadcraft, I switch it over to I call them board games, like BORED. Like they're like it's not a game that I'm actively being like, oh, I need to get through this campaign and finish the story and see what's at the end. Like this is where like Balatro is, Vampire Survivors, like those types of open-ended games where I can just play them leisurely.
Gotcha. Okay.
Versus like I have Luigi's Mansion on there since 2022 because I need to finish Luigi's Mansion. But then I'm like, I should wait till like October to play Luigi's Mansion, you know? And then October goes by and I'm like, maybe someday I'll finish it.
Yeah. I have something similar, but the problem is I've been trying to pay attention to the GOTY discussion this year. And part of it is, this is not necessarily new for last year or new for me, but last year was a pretty good example of an indie game that I waited to play, played it towards the end, and it became my game of the year, which was 1,000 Times Resist. And so I'm trying to pay more attention to these games as they come out and they get positive buzz. So there's a couple that I have. I bought this recently, but I'm waiting for the Switch 2 to play it, which is Promise Mascot Agency, that has a lot of buzz. There's also another one which is supposed to be like the Zero Escape series, kind of. I can't remember the name of it. But so my backlog for this year are like indie goaties, even more indie or obscure than like Blueprints, etc. Or the Root Trees Are Dead, that are getting a lot of positive buzz, and I'm like, I could love this. I still need to play it. And so that's my backlog that's giving me pressure more than just the normal backlog. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and my point of bringing up all those Notion games, like those are all games I've started, and again, I will get back to like Metaphors on there. Like I took Yakuza 7 off because like as much as I really love that game and what it's doing, it's like I don't have a desire to go back to it and finish it.
Too much.
And so I took that off. But Metaphor I like really liked, and especially after Clair Obscur. Like I want to make sure that's on there, so I want to get back to that. And that stupid game's coming to Game Pass, and I was like, fuck. I wish I could move my save over to Xbox and sit on the couch and play that game. Because
where did you buy it?
I bought it on Steam, and it's so I played it on my computer, and it plays okay on the Steam Deck, but I'm still in the phase of that game where I'm like learning it and like doing stuff, and it's not like a Steam Deck game, and then it doesn't run on my 4K TV very well through the Steam Deck, so it's just like this horrible jail I put myself in. So I'll get back to it, but on top of that, constantly on Blue Sky and social medias, I'm getting new games, like you saying Disposable Core. There's stuff like that. Someone did a whole thread of like under 30 reviews on Steam, like really fun games, and so I was like, I have a whole list of those, and they're all like $1.99 or something. I'm like, okay, I should buy this and play that. So yeah, there's not that much AAA on the horizon, but on my like games I want to play and try out horizon, there's so many that are just like coming at me that I'm like, I need to take a moment to breathe and play a game and not just sit there and scroll through lists of games, which is what I constantly do.
Yeah. So just the other game I was talking about, I just remembered, I do have the name of it. The 100-line Last Defense Academy. It's supposed to be like the Zero Escape series, which was like a puzzle escape room meets visual novel meets branching paths, like hundreds of branching paths you can take.
This is the one people say is like Danganronpa.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Same genre. Yeah. There's also Blade Chimera, which I can't remember, but I put it on the list anyways as something that is getting buzz, and Void Crew, which Nextlander really likes. We probably should check that out at some point. So yeah, there's like I said, we're planning to, at the end of June or early July, we're going to do an episode of Local Chat where we go through our current GOTY nominees, what's left for the year, things we've missed, etc., to kind of do a mid-year check-in. So we'll go more into that in about a month.
Hell yeah, I'm excited. Folks, those are the video games we've been playing this week. Now it's time to move on. We haven't had this recently because we've been having episodes with news and other things. Discussion topic, which is a thing we wanted to start adding to these episodes. Ian has gone ahead and done the work for me and written in a discussion topic, which, as we all know, 'tis the season. It's the reason for the season. E3 season 2025. What are our predictions? Summer Game Fest 2025 schedule. Sorry. I misread that. Now you just reading. No. I misread that sentence in my head as like the name of the thing, and then I realized I was just reading a link.
Yeah. So we're not going to do this too in depth. We're not going to go through all the rumors or anything, but I did want to kind of touch on, it's happening end of next week. This is a good time for us to kind of talk about what we want to see, maybe some predictions. So as a reminder, it's E3. I will always call it E3. It is still E3, even though it's not officially E3. But we've got a couple showcases and press conferences coming up. We've got the Summer Game Fest. We've got Day of the Devs. We've got the Wholesome Direct, the Future Games, the PC Gaming Show, the Xbox Game Showcase, as well as rumors of a Nintendo Direct and rumors of a PlayStation State of Play sometime in June, so they can be part of the season. So we've got all those up for grabs. Let's just kind of start with Will. What do you want to see? Either more of something announced or something new announced. What would you like to see?
I saw this pretty last minute, so I just wrote two things down that came to my head very quickly, which is they still haven't announced the Metal Gear Solid Collection Volume 2, which is supposedly
that's going to be 3, 4.
No, 3's
and then
in the
maybe
other.
the PSP stuff.
3's in the first one.
Oh, it is. So it would be 4.
I think it would be
Do you think
Portable
they bundle in
Ops.
5?
4.
Portable Ops, Peace Walker. Isn't there Portable Ops 2 and 4? Like that's what the collection would be probably.
Was Portable Ops? Is Portable Ops the same as Peace Walker?
No, they're different.
Maybe I'm thinking Peace Walker. I don't think they'd put portable. Whoa, almost said it.
Why?
Portable Ops.
The only reason why I say it is because if the first one had 1, 2, 3, what are you going to put in 2 other than 4? You know what I mean? Like they got to pad in some other stuff.
I assume it'd be
there.
Peace Walker, 4, Ground Zeroes, and Phantom Pain.
Oh, I see that. I think it's too soon for them to put 5 in there.
I mean, 10 years?
11? No, 10 years. Fuck, you're right. Yeah, that is. Jeez.
I know. Sorry.
10 years.
To jump scare you there.
10 years. It's been 10 years since I broke my elbow because I did that right after the game came out. Yeah, I could see that. I was going to say, do you want to see more of the 4 remake? But I don't think we really need to see more of it. It already looks fantastic. We already kind of know what the game is. I just want to. Yeah, the 2 remake. Yeah, I'm fucking up all over the place here, folks.
You really are.
I need to pave the roads. I can hear the asphalt singing to me. God,
it's funny. I've been watching Metal Gear Scanlan, and I've been like, and I started replaying Metal Gear Solid 1 on the Miyoo Mini. I was like, I should play, or I should watch through all these. And then I was like, I'm really excited. I'm genuinely excited for Delta. I think it's gonna be awesome. I'm hoping.
Yeah, I'm excited too. That's the one that I've always wanted to play, but between the not having a PS3 and the other weird ports and stuff, it was always like I just never put it together to play it.
3,
but now
3 was the first one I didn't have to use a guide for. Like I used vaguely a guide for it, but 1 and 2 1,000% used a guide, and then 3 I may have looked up a boss or two, but I wasn't sitting there with a guide to find where things were, and it felt really good.
Yeah.
4 is just 4. 4 is its own thing.
I do want to play 4. That's why, to your point, I think for Volume 2, I would be interested in 4 because 4 is the hardest game to play right now, right? That's the one that's still only PS3.
I believe, yeah, it's only PS3. Yeah,
which I have a PS3 now, but I'd rather not. I think I also own 4.
You have my collection, I'm pretty sure, which has 4 on it.
I may have sent that back to you though.
Did you?
It doesn't matter.
Well, I'll find it if I do. Anyways, so I'm excited for that. If they announce anything around that, it would be cool. Who knows? Bundled with that is any other Metal Gear remakes. I'm still surprised they didn't go with 1. But
Metal Gear 1?
Metal Gear Solid 1. I'm surprised they didn't.
I don't know, because Solid is still, you just pick that fucker up and play it. I mean, maybe like, this is not to bring the confusion in, but maybe like a remaster where it's just like, hey, it looks better and we've changed the controls to be a little bit more, a little less wonky, and that's it. Because I don't think it needs something as much as 3 or 4 where in terms of it's hard to play it on the right hardware.
That's true.
It's super beloved, but it's got controls problems, etc. I don't think people are clamoring for 1 as much as they would be 3 or 4.
Yeah, I mostly say that like out of 1, 2, and 3 is the most playable out of the box. Like it is a modern game with third-person action game, which is why if they were to remake it, I mean, they already made Twin Snakes years ago, which is a remake of 1, but the gameplay of 1
is that what Twin Snakes is? It's just a remake of 1.
Yeah, it's just a remake of 1. With a lot of 2's systems in it, I believe. But like 1 and 2 are top-down games. Like there's a lot you could do and like remake it as a
Yeah.
third-person
So
action
two's the
game.
one. Two's the one. Well, actually, why not just do both? It's a remake of 1 and 2, same package.
No, that's fine. I'm fine with that. I'm just saying 1 and 2
Yeah.
are different from the rest of the series. Like they're still.
No, I'm agreeing with you where you said
Yeah.
why haven't they gone back to the other ones for a remake? And I think going back for 1 or 2 as a remake is like, okay, but I think the smart move is do 1 and 2 at the same time. Same time, same engine, same remake, put them
And
both in there.
I think they started with 3 because 3 is the least. They're doing the least changes to the way the game already plays, even though it's a remake.
Yeah.
It's still like going to 1 and 2 and making them just a third-person action game like 3, and like Phantom Pain and stuff like that would have upset probably all the purists, and then like there would have been arguments about that. But they can start with 3 and have the sales numbers and stuff behind it to be like, let's do this to 1 and 2. So here's hoping.
Yeah, that's a good point. But I do think there is kind of underneath this whole like push and pull of which one's next. I would want this one. I would want that one. Is let's say they knock it out of the park with 3. It's not like it's not like it's worth it or makes sense for them to go through and do the entire series. Cause like we just talked about, 5 doesn't need anything. 4 just needs to be ported to a modern. That's it pretty much. You don't need to remake it at all. 3, they've already done. 2 and 1, I don't want to say are simple, but put them together. It's unless they're going to do something crazy and like change them to like first person or third person over the shoulder, like even more than they currently are. I don't want them to do that though. I don't want them to.
I don't know. Those games are hard and obtuse.
They're obtuse, yes, but once you have the guide and you know what to do, it's not that bad. I wish I'd say 1. I've never played 2. I just mean, sorry, the point I'm trying to get to is like, even if they do knock it out of the park with 3, they kind of box themselves in that it's not like they can say, awesome, let's run through the rest of the series in the same way. Because they're either going to do remakes that are going to be super faithful to the originals, in which case they're not as appealing to people, or they're going to have to step out of their comfort zone and make some drastic fucking changes to make the remake worth it, which is a big risk. As opposed to like, I'm trying to think of another series. Like, I can't think of a series, but
Resident Evil.
Yeah, Resident Evil. Exactly. Resident Evil's perfect. Where it's like, hey, they did one remake. It was great. Now we've got fucking 10 years of content, right? We just keep turning out the remakes one after the other because we know how to do it. The games need a remake, and we're nailing it, and they're similar enough to each other. They can't really do that with the Metal Gear series. That's kind of my point here.
I think they could do it if they based everything off of 3.
So 1 and 2 in the 3 systems, basically.
Because I also forgot 3 is the first game technically, so they could be going chronological order.
Yeah, I could see that.
But if I said like, I think, if I were to choose a game to base it off of, I guess I would go with 3 because 3 is the happy medium.
It's not that I'm upset about these remakes, but I think what would be really, I think what I want to see, just for the drama and the audacity and the sheer ballsiness, I want them to make Metal Gear Solid 6. Do it. Without Kojima. Just do it.
But there's no story.
Think about it. Think about it. You're so interested in it already. You're like, this is either going to be terrible and a train wreck I want to watch, or maybe they actually make something good without. Like, what is it? What could it even be? What are they going to do without? You see what I mean? I think that's the play.
Don't forget,
make 6.
They did make Survive, and 6. It was terrible.
Yeah, but that was clear. Just like,
I don't think they would ever make 6.
They should though. I think they should patch things up with the Kojima enough that Kojima puts out a statement where he's like, hey, I don't know what they're doing. I'm not involved with this, but I still love that series and you should support this series. Like, it's Kojima blessing it and just being like, don't use my history with Konami to not support this game. He like gives a blessing to the studio and says they did a fantastic job with 3.
But that would never happen in 1,000 years ever.
Yeah, but that would be that. But that, for me, as somebody, not as an executive, but as somebody who's like I just said, like, you have a little bit of runway to run through this series, but you're going to hit an end. Fuck it, make 6. Just do it. You're gonna even if 6 is a train wreck, you're still gonna sell at least 1 million copies,
but
bare minimum.
But what would it even be? It wouldn't be about anything. There's nothing left.
Hey, you know that emotion you're feeling right now? Yeah, you're gonna fucking buy this game and play it.
No,
no
I'm
matter
not.
what it is.
No.
Yes, you will.
There's nothing to do. The story's ended.
No, see, that's what I'm saying is they need to capitalize on the confusion and the conundrum and the insanity of the situation to make a 6, because they will sell at least 1 million copies guaranteed. Worst case, 1 million copies.
No, it's never happening. On to my next prediction, not prediction, but things I like. My favorite part of E3 season, or any show available today. I would like some games available today. I just, when they do that, it's so exciting.
Yes,
it's so fun.
Yes,
it's great. Keep doing it.
I was thinking if they just dropped a large portion of the. Excuse me, I was talking. Excuse me. Can I finish?
No. You know you can't.
I was just gonna say, I think the available today for me. This is not crazy, but. Drop the Activision catalog on Game Pass. All the old Call of Duty games, all that stuff. Just do it, man. I would love to play some Call of Duty 1 and 2 right now. You know, it's available for them. Everybody's waiting for it. They've said before they're going to try and do it, and they've done a little bit of it, but that would be a great and easy available today. It's just a big dump of Activision games on Activision and Blizzard games on Game Pass. Yeah.
Dump it.
Any other predictions, Will?
No, that's all the predictions from me. Vaguely, I was thinking about like Indiana Jones DLC or something. I would love to see, but there's not like in my head. I'm like, oh, Wolfenstein 3, but they just put out Indiana Jones. I don't think there's going to be unless it's a super early tease or something.
Do you think there's gonna be a Wolfenstein 3?
I don't think so, but can always a boy can hope. The same way you hope for a disgusting Metal Gear Solid 6, I hope for an amazing
They may be the indie studio now, the Indiana Jones studio, which I'm okay with. You know.
Yeah.
So my prediction / wishes. This first one on the Xbox Showcase, I didn't realize until I looked at the schedule. This is going to happen. We are going to see more of the Outer Wilds 2. The Outer Worlds, fuck. You know, I thought about it and I wrote down the because I knew there was a the in front of it and I still fucked it up. The Outer Worlds 2. We are going to see more of that. That's due out this year. They're doing like a separate after the Xbox showcase. They're doing an Outer Worlds 2 showcase. So I'm excited to see more of that. But actually, I don't know that I want to see more of it. I think I just want to play it.
True.
We've seen. It has basically been, I can't remember. I believe it's beyond rumors at this point. We've seen the rumors of the FCC filings. We've seen the beyond rumors of people, I believe, saying that, yes, they're working towards this. I would love to finally see what this Xbox handheld is, which my understanding is basically just an Xbox branded handheld gaming device, but made by Acer or Asus. I can't remember which one. And running a better version of Windows with Xbox on it, because I just love that little PC handheld market now, you know. So I'd love to see Xbox a shot at it. Beyond that, the only other thing I can think of is Summer Game Fest. There is a rumor based on a leaked EXE and a countdown in there that Arc Raiders may launch on June 6th during Summer Game Fest.
So now that
I'm looking forward to. I didn't hear it. I'm looking forward to Arc Raiders. Are you looking forward to Arc Raiders, Will?
Yeah, I didn't watch that Drewski video, but everything I've heard about Arc Raiders has made me very excited for it. Like I think it was Brad from Nextlander talking about like they were exfilling and like a giant robot, like huge map wide robot was landing. So like stuff like that. Just it sounds kind of like, I don't want to know too much about the game because I want to discover that stuff myself.
Yeah. And I think it feels like, I don't mean to piss on Bungie every opportunity I get, but it feels like Marathon was supposed to be the new mainstream, better and improved extraction shooter, and it's proving not to be that, even though it hasn't come out yet. It feels like that's actually what Arc Raiders is, because Arc Raiders had a beta, very positive buzz. People were saying it's doing good things, but it's still an extraction shooter. Like you're saying, it's adding a lot of crazy procedural events in the world, and it hasn't announced a price yet. My hope is that it's free to play. So if they free to play drop Arc Raiders on June 6th, that would be awesome, and that's the current rumor. I got to be honest with you. I noticed you were struggling with coming up with like predictions / wishes, and it's the same for me. And I don't know if it's the same reason for you, but for me, I think it's because my favorite games of the last couple of years have all been in the indie single A, double A space, like Roadcraft, Balatro, Thousand Times Resist, etc. The games that either come out of nowhere or they're coming, but they're not big enough to be like a reveal at Xbox or whatever. And so when I think about these big showcases now, it's like, I don't care, unfortunately. Like, yeah. I'm still going to watch it, but I can't imagine them doing something that will actually get me excited. I can't come up with anything.
I don't think this game will have high billing, because I don't think the teaser had high billing, but I would love to see a little bit more of Inscription 2, I believe it is. Is that what it is called?
No, it's Pony Island 2, I believe.
Is it Pony Island 2?
I think it is. I think it's Pony Island 2.
Inscription thing?
I don't think so. But yeah, I could see a little bit of that. I think part of it also is that I'm even just trying to think of, like, one of the biggest pops in E3 history has been Final Fantasy VII Remake, right? And then I'm trying to think of, is there a game that I would really, really love a remake of, but they've either already done it,
Yeah.
I can't. Maybe Red Faction 1, that with the destruction in it. Oh, that would be new Red Faction game.
Half-Life 3?
Actually, new Red Faction game. I was going to say, that brings me to my wildest wish section, which is, it doesn't have to be attainable at all. It can be absolutely crazy. It doesn't matter. What's your wildest wish? Mine was going to be Half-Life 3. The rumors are always there, but they feel like there's more rumors and more substance to them than ever. I don't even think they would announce it at E3, but if we got a Half-Life 3 announcement, that would be wild. What's your wildest wish?
My wildest wish is a Lost Planet remake.
Lost Planet remake or a new one?
I don't know. The new one's so far out of my scope of reality, because I can't think of a company taking a risk like that. I can just think of them being like, here's the remastered collection,
this is your wildest wish.
Here's a remake. Yeah, that's true.
But this is your wildest wish. So let me put it this way. Would you rather replay one of the older games, but like updated, better graphics, quality of life, etc., or do you want a new story, new guns, new mechanics, etc., but it's still Lost Planet?
I think I'd rather get I'd settle for a remaster, but I'd rather get a remake of the first one.
But you still want it to be one of those and not a new Lost Planet.
Yeah, the Metal Gear Delta version of.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I feel like, you know what? Oh, you know what? Fuck, I just remembered we were gonna do a joke where we did a fake E3 showcase, but it was just all the games we've loved over the last like 15 years, but we pretend they're brand new. We never did that.
Well, thanks for telling everyone.
We forgot. Next year.
Oh my god.
We should do that.
They announced.
That'd be funny.
They announced Super Mario 64.
Next up, this flight sim is taking VR by storm. It's Top Gun time. Here's your first look at VTOL VR,
Folks, you ever want to control a colony on the outer rim of space?
And then if we got really wild with it, we could make it like some sort of consumerist, like anti-consumerist stance where we're like, the best games of the year have already been released and they're all on sale on Steam.
And we just keep cutting to a like 800-pound guy shoving cans of beef and meat down his throat. And it's just like really up close. Sure. And he's just burping, and every time he burps, old video games come out, and it's just like, and then out of his ass is all Roblox.
What is happening?
I'm getting real surreal in this video. It's breaking down.
I do still think that would be fun. Is just doing like putting together our entire fake press conference. It'd be like SPC. That would be fun.
I've never heard of it.
So yeah, folks. The other thing is, I guess my final wish is these aren't wildest, but is I do want to see a Nintendo Direct, and I do want to see a PlayStation State of Play. It's not quite E3 if you only have Xbox and Summer Game Fest. We do need some Nintendo press conferences and PlayStation press conferences. So I'd love to see it.
Can you believe that you will have played the Switch 2 when these press conferences happen?
Hey, can we talk about real quick? I don't know if you've noticed this, but the Switch 2 has one of the weakest launch lineups I've ever seen. My understanding is it is the non-pack-in $10 Switch 2 game and Mario Kart World, and that's it, right? Everything else has already been released on other consoles.
Just the updated stuff.
Is that right? Really it? It's basically 1.5 games. That's weak as shit.
I mean, it's not as weak as the Xbox Series X. Wasn't it nothing? Wasn't it just was it Forza?
No, because Forza didn't come out then.
Didn't Halo Halo got delayed.
Halo got delayed, so I think you're right. That had 0 games.
And PS5 I remember at least I was just playing Yakuza
and Legion. Yeah, PS5 had Astrobot or did Destruction Derby All-Stars get delayed? I think that got delayed.
Yeah, I think.
Holy shit! How did we miss that console launches are lame?
I distinctly remember talking about it with the Xbox.
But I feel like we should be more upset about this.
I don't know. Mario Kart World, I think, is stellar, so I'm not. That's mostly why I'm not complaining.
But I still like the idea of 4 or 5 games.
But I mean, the Switch 2 only had ARMS, or Switch 1 only had ARMS and Zelda, right?
No, it didn't have ARMS. It had Zelda. It had
Snipper Clips.
Bomberman. It had Snipper Clips. And I think there was 2 or 3 others.
Did you know the Snipper Clips devs are the same devs as Crow County?
1-2 Switch. Yes, I
1-2 Switch.
1-2 Switch.
ARMS wasn't launch?
No, ARMS was like a year and a half later.
No. You're a liar. You're a liar, and I'm going to burn you at the stake.
I'm going to say ARMS was 1 year later. That would have been March.
It was June 2017. So it was like 3 months.
3 months later? Damn, that was pretty quick. It still was not a launch title, though. I know that for sure. Yeah, I guess launches are just weak as shit now.
Yeah, there's no point anymore.
Huh.
Man, they should bring back
anyways,
ARMS.
let's hop on the news.
Wait, no.
We got some quick news.
No, launch game. Aren't they adding that legs game where you use the wheelchairs?
Is that launch?
It has to be.
I don't think it is.
What's the name of that game? Wheelchair game.
Okay.
Nintendo wheelchair game. I'm Googling. Drag X Drive. What a terrible name.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Oh, this has these are poorly written articles because they don't have just lists in them. You piece of shit.
I don't think Drag X Drive has a release date.
Okay, here we go. List of Nintendo Switch 2 launch titles. Bravely Default Flying Fairy HD. No, that was previously released. This is not telling me which ones are brand new, but I do think it's just Mario Kart World. I've seen something called Shine Post Be Your Idol! Exclamation point.
Shine Post Be Your Idol?
Complete day 1. See, the problem is people are listing all the games that are going to be there, but that doesn't count.
Yeah, I see that too.
I think it really is just Mario Kart World and the Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour.
I think you're right.
Oh no, wait. Deltarune. Doesn't Deltarune have new chapters in it?
I don't know what that is.
You never played Undertale?
I tried Undertale once I tried Undertale twice and it was awful both times.
I want to replay it. I remember finding it funny. I'm not sure, but I believe Deltarune on Switch 2 launch has additional chapters in it.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
Yeah, okay, so wait.
Now I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Deltarune.
Wasn't 3 and 4? Wasn't that the big news? They're adding 2 chapters.
I think so, yeah. So Deltarune chapters 1 through 4 will release on Steam, Switch, PS4, and PS5 on June 4th. Comes out on Switch 2 2 days later when it comes out, or I guess the day later. So that counts. I'm going to call that a Switch 2 launch title. Even though it's 2 days after the other consoles, that counts as a launch title. So, because it's coming out basically with launch.
Yeah.
So that's 3 games. That sucks. Hey, guess what else sucks?
Everything.
EA canceled that Black Panther game and closed Cliffhanger Studios. I don't mean to be callous here, but quick question: Do you give a fuck about this?
I was only looking forward to it because it was a World War II game, wasn't it? And I thought that'd be fun. Like World War II Paris or something?
Or isn't that the Amy Hennig game that got announced? That's where I was like, I knew these were different games, but I can't tell them apart anymore.
I thought this was the Black Panther
the Captain America
game.
Okay, let me look it up. Amy Hennig. No, I think
maybe I'm wrong.
Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra is the Amy Hennig game.
Oh, okay,
so
that is still happening.
Yes, the Black Panther game, I believe, was supposed to be one of the previous Black Panthers. Single player action adventure open world game, but I don't think the era was clear. And I don't mean to be callous. I don't like that people lost their jobs, etc. But this feels like this was a stinker of a game, stinker of an idea, and the studio was not pulling it together. And we talk about how the AAA space is very risky right now because AAA games don't know how to be made anymore, and they cost 10 times as much as they used to, and they're not making money. So I hate to say this, but from a business perspective, if you have a game idea that's not taking off even in development and it's going to cost a shitload of money, cut it now. It sucks that the studio had to get canceled and closed. I don't like that. But yeah, kill the game.
Yeah.
It's not worth the risk right now.
The poor decision to start the game and risk all this stuff already happened. Like,
yes.
So it's the sunk cost fallacy.
And so now, and now, unfortunately, the smart decision is to cut it.
Yeah.
Rather than keep
and in
going
the
down.
perfect world, they would be able to cancel that game without firing all those people.
Yes.
But we live in a perfect world, so that is what happened. No, it's not what happened.
But it sounds like there were 300 people at that studio, roughly, that's a lot of people to shift elsewhere in the company.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
Sucks. But unfortunately, I do think was the correct business decision. Speaking of decisions that I'm pondering, hey, did you know that Alex Garland signed a deal to direct a live-action Elden Ring movie for a 24-year-old?
A 24. That's cool.
A 24-year-old.
That's. Yeah, sure.
Right.
Elden Ring.
You know,
a movie?
It's like, yeah, Alex Garland's good. Elden Ring's good. A24 is good, but you put them all together, and I'm like, I don't see this. I see this being good and no more than that.
Yeah,
Am I crazy?
It seems like all the right spins, like on a Luigi board or something like that, but it's just like too perfect to be good. You know, it's like, why would you?
Yeah. And we talked about this in the community Discord, how basically Alex Garland doesn't feel like a good fit here. Some of the names that were thrown out were Guillermo del Toro, or the creative team behind The Green Knight, or honestly, this should be an anime. Just make it a really weird fucking looking anime, you know? Because this is, I hate to be pessimistic, but it's like literally across the board. It's like, okay, what is the story of this? What's the look of this? What's the tone of this? And when you say Alex Garland, I don't see him hitting any of those. Because even, I need to rewatch it, but even something like Annihilation, which has a disturbing tone, doesn't quite go far enough in terms of being disturbing. You know what I mean?
I feel like Elden Ring also isn't a great game to make a movie about. Like,
No,
Elden Ring and Dark Souls
they have to
lore
pick like three of the
thrives
bosses.
Right.
Yeah, it's just gonna be like 3 of the bosses and tell their weird little incestual story, whatever that is.
Like, and to me, an Elden Ring movie is like a 5-minute animated short where nobody talks, and you just like get the implied shit. Yeah, like there's, like this movie's gonna end up being something set in Elden Ring, and that's gonna be the connection, is what I'm afraid.
Yeah, it's what it's gonna be. I haven't seen it yet, and I don't mean this. Let me finish. It's going to be like the Minecraft movie, where it's going to be, it's not necessarily going to be an isekai where it's a normal person dropped into a different world, but it's going to be somebody who starts out of nothing, and they wake up in the darkness and they stumble out into the Elden Ring, and then they have to go around the world and get better and meet people and fight bosses. And that is the story of the game, quote unquote. But that is boring as shit in a movie where the viewer has no agency like they do in a video game.
Yeah.
You know,
the perfect Elden Ring experience is to go to the movies, watch the film, and then come home and have to watch video essays to understand what the movie was about.
Yes.
And also
like
during
Green
the
Knight.
film,
because
they're just punching you in the face the entire time, and you have to dodge the punches. And you can dodge the punches if you're good enough, but they'll always be punching you.
Like it needs to be like the guy that did Midsummer, whatever.
They have
Ari
those
Aster.
little
like
dancing
make
ladies.
it weird as shit. Yeah, make it weird as shit and obtuse and hard for the audience to understand. And I don't trust Alex Garland when he makes movies that are pretty apparent. And when he makes, what's that movie called? The movie called Man, where it's just
Men,
where it's just like an actress and then all the other people are played by the same actor. And it's like, oh yeah, you're kind of punching us in the face with what's going on here, aren't you? You know, not the punches you want, the incredibly obvious story punches.
I've only seen Ex Machina, and I like that. So
it's good. Yeah, that one's good too. That's the problem. Is Alex Garland is good to great, but he's not right for this movie. He's just not.
Didn't he write a game?
I don't know. He did write the first Halo screenplay, and that was just Halo.
I remember you didn't like that.
It's not that I didn't like it. It's just that it was just straight Halo. It was like, what if we just took the game and made it a movie?
You'd prefer a gay Halo?
You know, it'd still be better than that fucking TV series, though. Man, they messed that up so bad.
He co-wrote Enslaved Odyssey of the West for PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360.
People like that game, don't they?
I don't know. I've never heard of it until this moment.
Wait, Enslaved Odyssey of the West, isn't that the one where people are saying if you like Claire Obscure, you need to play Enslaved Odyssey of the West?
I don't know. I haven't been talking to the same people you talk to. It was supposed to be a CGI film. Ninja Theory made it.
Yeah. So anyways, puzzling news. This is the Metal Gear Solid 6 of movie news, where nobody knows what's going to happen, and that makes it all the more exciting. You know, I brought it back full circle.
No, because Elden Ring lore could not be more open-ended. Like, and Metal Gear lore is more tied off than it's ever been.
But that's why it's like, what is 6 even gonna be? You know, whereas this movie's like, what are they even gonna do? So much. I'm so right. This is a perfect analogy.
What, Star Wars 10 is going to be crazy. Or not 10, fuck. No, wait, 10? Yeah, 10.
Gosling? Does it count as 10? No, it doesn't count as 10.
No, I'm making up a fictitious Star Wars 10. I can't believe how bad those new Star Wars movies are. Sometimes I have to sit down and think about that. How bad they are. Isn't it crazy?
No, I think I'm just so happy because when they came out as soon as they came out and I watched them, I was telling anybody as much as I can, as I do, how terrible they were. And there were so many people who were like, they weren't that bad, or like, they're okay, or people being like, they're my favorite Star Wars movie. And I love how over time people are admitting they're dog shit, and people are realizing the prequels were actually
prequels
good.
are still bad. But
Prequels, have you seen the prequels lately? Because they're
Yes.
still good.
no, they're not. But
Fucking pod racing.
but they're more coherent and better put together than the final.
Yes.
And after Force Awakens, I didn't like Force Awakens that much, but it was still like, okay, they did the whole reset
Competent.
to the Star Wars thing, competent. And even I've seen The Last Jedi once. It was in theaters, and I enjoyed that film. And after everyone complained about it, I have no intention of ever rewatching it because I just want that good experience in my head. And then I saw Rise of Skywalker and with one Chris Elliott and our partners, and it was the worst movie I've ever seen. It was so bad.
So it's so
Just
bad.
hold up the Jedi and hold up the knife to the.
I still need to rewatch that because that's where I'm at of the new sequels. And I know it's going to be bad, but my rewatch of Last Jedi was even worse than I remember it. And so I'm afraid that Rise of Skywalker is actually going to, I don't want to say be not as bad, but that I don't know why I'm afraid of this. But in my head, I'm like, it's possible Last Jedi is actually the worst one. Because as much as I want to hate Rise of Skywalker,
true. Rise of Skywalker,
I haven't seen it since it came out, so it could be true.
Awful.
Could be true, yeah.
It is awful. I'm sorry.
I feel like I need to go rewatch Solo too, because that one I was like a fever dream watching that. I was
and even
like,
watching Rogue One, I was like, oh man, wow, what a like pretty competently well put together movie.
Yeah.
It's so refreshing. Although the problem was Andor leads right into Rogue One, and then that leads. I was like, I should watch New Hope now. I was like, it's because I forgot. How great Darth Vader is.
Just to bring it back full circle to our previous stream, though. You know what gave me the feeling of watching a movie and being like, hey, this is competent and well put together. Like, it's not amazing, but it's a good movie. Waterworld.
Oh, no.
Waterworld. Waterworld is good, especially in comparison to the Star Wars sequels. Like, I don't love it, but I watch it and I'm like, this is a competent. They got great world building. They got some crazy characters, and it works. It's well put together, you know? Oh man, you should watch Waterworld. It has these two action pieces that are insane. It's there's this, I swear I saw stunt people die. It's crazy.
You need to go to the Waterworld
anyways,
stunt show.
folks. I know, I was thinking about it. I was like, we could. I see flights to LA for like $98 all the time.
No, there's one in is the one in
No, I thought Disney it was only at
Florida
LA.
Universal?
I don't think there is.
I've been to the stunt show and I haven't been to LA.
Oh my God.
Unless
right,
I've been to a different stunt
show.
Oh, I know. I think I'm thinking of the movie. What's the movie ride stunt show that used to exist? I think that's what I'm thinking of.
It's Universal Studios Hollywood, Universal Studios Japan, Universal Studios Singapore, and Universal Studios Beijing.
Okay, so there was a stunt show in Disney/Universal. It must have been Disney. There used to be a Disney stunt show, and I think that's what I'm thinking of.
Oh my God, this looks incredible. And this takes place in the action piece from the... We have to go to LA, Will, just to see this.
Just to see that. I don't know what the Disney stunt show... Oh, not the Lights, Motors, Action one. It's not the...
When was the last time you watched Waterworld?
Probably like 2011.
Okay, should I bring you the 4K Blu-ray? Because it... No. I would much rather watch that movie than I would the Star Wars sequels. I think you would enjoy it. That's why. I'm not like an apologist. The people talk about Waterworld is that it's a piece of shit, and it's not. Especially compared to modern movies, it is not. It is not. It's like a solid 7. It's great.
Yeah. Listen to you. Look at you enjoying a movie, and it's saying it's not that great of a movie, but it's an enjoyable movie and a great movie.
Yeah.
Look how far he's come, folks. Look how
To be
far
fair,
he's
it's because
come.
I've been surrounded by people who for the last 10 years have been talking about how good the new Star Wars movies are.
Yeah, but those
Like I'm
aren't
taking
actually
fucking
good.
crazy pills.
Nobody's.
Yeah, but they waited
I don't know
until
who
now
you've
to
been
admit
hanging
that.
out with that is saying those movies are good.
Well, I'm not crazy.
Yeah,
I know it
apparently
happened.
not.
I could probably find
I
a
don't think
million
I've-
tweets right now of people saying Last Jedi is my favorite Star Wars movie. Or people just being
No,
like,
that's
you didn't
crazy.
get it. It was too deep for you. You don't understand. Last Jedi is about teaching a man that he's not always right and that sometimes he needs to listen to a woman.
Oh damn! You got up there.
Got so excited. My mic took off. Anyways, folks.
He's hard.
Hey,
folks.
you know what I did watch recently that was fantastic?
Waterworld.
I watched a YouTube video called The Longest Baseball Game Ever by Hayden, Hydn. This reminds me a lot of John Boyce. You ever watch any John Boyce stuff on YouTube?
No.
He's the guy that started the Breaking Madden series where week by week he would play the game Madden and just try and tweak the variables so he would have like a 4-foot running back and try and see like what would happen in a game where it's a team of 4-foot people versus a team of 8-foot people and just see what happens. And then he's always done some weird videos where the idea is he's telling these weird stories from sports history or sometimes just American history, but with some very weird like chart-based graphics. So the reason why I bring that up is it was John Boyce who actually tweeted that, hey, if you like my stuff, you should check out this guy. This is Hayden, Hydn. He's only got 37,000 subscribers on YouTube, but he put out this hour 15 video. And if I want you to kind of scrabble through this video quickly to see the style, but it's like he made it in Unity or something with just like very rudimentary people like T-posing on a baseball field to animate this whole thing. But as it's going with his rudimentary graphics, he's telling the story of the longest baseball game in history, which happened in the 1980s. And it's so he adds so much emotion to the story as he's telling it. And I'll just give you one example of, actually there's two examples, right, of just some of the stories that he tells about this game that I think it went 33 innings. It went to like 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning. So the reason why it went so long, baseball had this rule which said that if a game goes past midnight, it has to stop. And so when it got to midnight, the baseball managers like walked up to the umpire and they were like, hey, it's midnight, we have to stop the game. But the head umpire was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And they're like, no, it's a rule. And they bring out like the manager's rule book and it has the rule in there that's been there for years. And the umpire's like, no, that's not in this year's rule book. And he pulls out his pocket umpire's rule book, which is given to him by the league every year. And for some reason, that year's rule book had that rule omitted by accident.
Oh.
So the head umpire did not have that rule and he knew it was not in there. He didn't know why, but he's like, that rule is not in effect anymore. For whatever reason, it's not in our rule book. So we're going to keep playing. And it took them like another 3 hours because one of the managers kept calling like the head of baseball or somebody who was like a rules lawyer and a baseball executive. They kept trying to call him and wake him up and get him on the phone to be like, hey, we're in Massachusetts. It's 2 a.m. and we're still playing baseball. You need to make this stop, you know? Please. And it's very funny. And there's another story, which is one of the pitchers. Normal baseball game, a pitcher only pitches like, let's say 6 innings or less, right? Because then their arms get tired.
He takes pitches.
So there's a pitcher. Yeah, there's a pitcher who did like 12 innings or something, and then he had to pitch a game the next day. And so he asked the coach, he's like, hey, it's like midnight. Can I go home, leave the game early, get some sleep so I'm ready for the game tomorrow? You know, I wasn't supposed to pitch tonight, but I had to because the game kept going and I still want to pitch tomorrow. And the coach is like, yeah, you can go home. So his teammate drives him home and the player gets to the door and he opens the door, and his wife is there waiting for him, and his wife starts yelling at him, being like, "Where you been? What do you mean you've been playing baseball? Games don't go that late. You must have been at the bars. You've been sleeping around." and the guy was just like, "No, there's a base. No, it's the longest game in history. I got stuck at the game's still going." And long story short, wife wouldn't let him in the house, so he ended up getting a ride back to the stadium to go back to the dugout because his wife didn't believe him that the game was still going. So it's this incredible the way it's shown with this weird little animation, the stories, the emotions of it. It's incredible. Even if you're not into sports at all, you don't have to be. Just watch this. It's
was
great.
It not a televised game?
No, it was a minor league game. So it was on the radio. It was on the radio. So the announcers started like doing weird stuff on the radio. At one point they were like, "Hey, here's the number to our press box. If anybody's listening, please call us and tell us." But they were so sleep deprived that they gave out the wrong number and they had to like correct it like an hour later and be like, "Sorry, we gave you the wrong number. If you're still listening to this game, call this number."
That's wild.
Yeah, so that is the longest baseball game ever on YouTube by Hayden HYDN. Incredible. I mean, we are a YouTube channel. We like to make great videos and tell stories about games, video games in particular. But this is one of those things where John Boyce called it out because this video only has 93,000 views. This guy's only got 37,000 subscribers. This is one of the best YouTube videos I've ever seen. So absolutely check it out, folks. I watched it over 3 or 4 sittings. It's great to just sit down and get like 15 minutes of this crazy, weird story and then move on from there. Yeah, that's my content call out. I believe we've got a wish list spotlight. Is that right?
Yeah, this is a game I came across today. In 4 days, this is an early access game, but in 4 days, June 2nd, I believe this game releases into 1.0. Cyber Knights Flashpoint. I'm mostly picking this game out because it looks a lot like one awesome video game that I love called XCOM. This is a cyberpunk RPG. It is, but not the cyberpunk RPG. It's turn-based squad tactics with unique heist planning strategy. Build your crew wisely. And pull off heists with powerful cyberware. But there's a couple screenshots here.
This is a Jason game.
Yeah, this is a Jason game. There's a couple screenshots here that show like your base that you're building out, like in XCOM 1 and 2, where you're like choosing the room. Oh, sorry, I'm getting very emotional. Choosing the rooms and what have you. So, and it's a lot of character creation stuff. So I can't wait to build out all of Subpixel and save data and have them get murdered. It should be fun. So that is Cyber Knights Flashpoint. Go check it out. Wishlist it on Steam. It is out in 4 days, like I said. Like, you can buy it now for $30, and then it'll be out 1.0 next week. That is the Wishlist Spotlight, which means we're done with the show, which means I can play the music and we can get the hell out of here, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. I have been your host, Will Crosby. That is the one and only Ian Gibson right over there wearing a shirt. Can you believe it? We will be back.
Should I take it off?
Yes.
Take it off?
We'll be back tomorrow night, Friday night, 5:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll be watching some VHS tapes that I have here. There's a bunch of random ones. I got to remember to test that audio tomorrow morning because something didn't work last time and I can't quite remember what it was. So that'll be fun.
Hit me up.
And then we will be back. Are we going to stream tomorrow as well, Roadcraft?
You know, I will be playing Roadcraft. If you want to stream, we could probably do it a little bit earlier just to get it out of the way.
I might be able to. I realize I have launch to do tomorrow, and I have to film a news segment, so I'll be doing that as well. Sunday service, and then we'll see y'all next week. Bye, everyone.